In the beginning, Adam opened his eyes and saw light for the first time. He was the first human, shaped from clay, his chest rising with the breath of life. When he stood, he was tall, strong, and unlike anything the earth had ever seen. Ancient traditions describe Adam as much taller than humans today, perhaps over 90 feet in the earliest times, though later beliefs say he stood around 7 to 9 feet tall, with broad shoulders and powerful hands. His skin carried the color of the soil from which he was formed, rich and earthy. Not pale, not too dark, but a natural tone of the ground. His eyes were said to shine with intelligence, and his hair was thick and black. He was not just a man, he was humanity's beginning. The first place Adam lived was the Garden of Eden. Different traditions place this garden in today's world between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, in the land we now call Iraq. Some say the rivers of Eden also flowed from Armenia or Turkey. Others believe when Adam was sent down to earth, he first landed on a mountain in present-day Sri Lanka, known today as Adam's Peak. From this high place, he walked on earth for the very first time. When Adam opened his eyes in the garden, he was alone. The silence of paradise surrounded him, but soon Eve was created from his side. Their meeting place is believed to have been near the land we call Saudi Arabia today, in a plain once lush and fertile. Later stories say Adam and Eve were separated at first, cast down in different lands. Saddam in Sri Lanka, Eve near Jeddah in Arabia, and, after long searching, they finally met each other on the plain of Arafat near Mecca. That place is still visited today, believed to be where the first man and woman embraced after exile. Their life in Eden had been simple. The first food Adam ate was fruit sweeter than anything we can taste today, fruits from the trees of paradise. For bathing, he washed in Eden's rivers, the first man to feel water touch his skin. But after exile, life was different. On earth, Adam had to eat from the land. He gathered dates, grains, and figs. He learned to cook food over fire. The first man to taste bread made from crushed seeds and water. His bath was no longer a river of paradise, but streams and rainwater gathered in the wild. Adam and Eve built the first shelter from branches and stones. Adam taught himself how to cut wood, sharpen stones into tools, and create the first fire. He was the first builder, the first farmer, the first craftsman. Eve worked beside him, gathering food, caring for their first children, and weaving leaves into simple coverings. Their first sons, Cain and Abel, were born in this wild new world. Cain grew strong and worked the soil, becoming a farmer like his father. Abel became a shepherd, leading flocks across the hills. Adam watched them with pride, but he also saw their rivalry. When Cain killed Abel, Adam became the first father to bury a child. Abel was laid into the earth, the very first grave in human history. Adam's heart broke, and Eve's tears fell as the first mother to weep for her son. Adam continued to live, raising more children. Tradition says he had dozens of sons and daughters, filling the earth with families that grew into tribes. His children spread out across lands that today are Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Arabia Cain himself wandered east and built the first city, believed to be in Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers. Every tribe, every nation that came later could trace its blood back to Adam. The years turned to centuries. Adam lived not just a lifetime, but nearly 1,000 years. Ancient texts say he lived for 930 years. Imagine that, nearly a millennium of walking this earth, seeing his children grow, his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and generations beyond counting. He was the first man to know the weight of age, the first to feel strength leave his body. His back bent, his eyes dimmed, and his steps slowed. In his last days, Adam gathered his children and told them the story of Eden, how he had first opened his eyes, how he had met Eve, how they had walked in paradise, and how sweet the fruits of Eden had been. He told them of the rivers, the trees, the peace they had once known. His children listened, wide-eyed, for these were memories no one else could share. Adam was the only one who had seen both paradise and earth. Finally, at the age of 930, Adam's breath slowed. Surrounded by his family, the first father closed his eyes. His body was placed into the earth, returning to the same clay he was formed from. His children buried him, marking the first funeral of mankind. Today, traditions say Adam's resting place may be on Adam's Peak in Sri Lanka, or under the cave of Machpelah in Hebron, where later prophets were also buried. Others believe his grave lies in Saudi Arabia, near Mecca. No one can say for sure, but his story lives everywhere, in every culture. Adam was the first man to eat, the first to bathe, the first to work, the first to love, the first to lose, and the first to die. His strength, his face, and his struggles shaped the very beginning of human history. The story of humanity began with Adam, and his legacy is alive in every single one of us.